Your partner is left with maybe. My partner will do this thing, maybe not. It is about listening for understanding. It's about being curious. Hi there. I'm Dr. Carol Henry. Today, I wanted to share with you 3 essential ways to show your partner that you love them. It's not enough to say, love you, or I love you, to let your partner know that they're really loved. It's not enough to say that, because we use those terms or those phrases so much. They're words. They're necessary, or they're good, but they're not enough. They're not sufficient. So you need to show through your actions that you love your partner, that you love anybody. We can say things, but the real proof, if you will, is in the actions. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is trust. And that is so essential and fundamental to relationships that, of course, that's an important one. Be trustworthy. That's really how we get people to trust us, because it's really on us. We need to be trustworthy. In other words, do what you say you'll do. That's a big part of it. Trust is everything. If trust is strong with your partner, then there's a sense that they get a sense of safety, security, and ease. And when trust is broken in small or big ways, it's crucial that the partner who broke it, the trust, owns what they did, apologizes, and then doubles down on not doing it again. So, of course, we're going to mess up sometimes. And so that's what I mean, the small things. Even those can really benefit. You can benefit your relationship by apologizing. So anyway, let's talk about what I mean by some small trust breakers or broken trust. Not doing a chore that you said you'd do. For example, picking up a grocery item on the way home. So that's one. You said you'd do it and you didn't. Okay. Second one, not taking out the trash and the garbage without being reminded. Or third, not planning a date night when it was your turn. Fourth, not coming home at the time that you said you would without calling and letting him or her know. So those are what I call the small ones. The more they happen, they're not really small anymore. They become kind of a pile of problems. And with each one, a little bit of trust is broken. Here's some big ones. You probably already know these. For example, not picking up a child after practice, kind of leaving them alone because you forgot. 2, spending a large amount of money without discussing it first. Does that remind you of anything? Okay, and here's another big one. Gambling away the college fund. I've had several couples where somebody did that. That there's just no college fund anymore. And the last one I'm going to mention is infidelity, cheating, emotional or physical infidelity. Those are kind of obvious. But each of the small ones and the big ones impacts the trust that your partner can have with your words. Your partner is left with, maybe my partner will do this thing, maybe not. Maybe I can trust them to keep our relationship the way we've designed it to be, the way we expect from each other. And maybe not. Maybe I have to be very vigilant. So the small ones especially can lead to reminding, which most people consider to be nagging or some other kind of unpleasantness. So if you forget to do a chore that you said you're going to do, if you don't pick something up that you said you were going to, you're chronically later arriving back home from something later than you said you'd be, and without calling. So they hear what you say after enough of these. Your partner hears what you say and they think, maybe, yeah, maybe not. And you probably don't want that to be what they think. So, of course, the obvious thing is do what you say you'll do. Or if you can't, tell your partner why you didn't, why you can't, or why it's incomplete, rather than hoping that your partner won't notice, because they probably will. For example, if you said you'd make a call to the dentist and make an appointment for your child, and you did it, but you were put on hold for a really long time and you had to hang up without making the appointment because you had a meeting. So tell your partner that and promise you'll call again tomorrow, rather than just kind of letting it go and hope they forget. Don't do that. That's not trustworthy. Okay. So I'm not going to say don't do the bigger ones because it's so obvious that you wouldn't do those things. I mean, that would cause a problem if it's found out. So the second one, the first one is trust. The second one is listen to your partner when your partner is talking. In other words, pay attention, and pay the kind of attention that's you're listening for understanding. It's not about agreeing. It's not about listening hour after hour to the same complaints about work every day. That's another conversation. But it is about listening for understanding. It's about being curious, like engaged in it, ask a question. And it's about treating your partner with respect, compassion, and love, like you want to be treated. So when you listen to your partner like this, they'll likely feel they can talk to you about anything and everything. And they may listen to you better as well. When you feel like you can talk to your partner about anything and everything, it just brings you so much closer. And connection and just looking forward to being with each other. So in a lot of the couples that I've worked with over the last 30 years, the listening is really a complaint that's very common. If listening isn't happening, it gradually becomes a situation in which the partner doesn't bring up important topics little topics or really big topics, and that you two become disconnected, and that kills happiness. Okay, so listen carefully for understanding. Third, this is the third and last. Be ready and willing to apologize. And not just when you've done something obviously wrong. It also is advisable to give an apology about how you acted in a certain scenario or a conversation, or when you forgot something, or you disappointed your partner, or when, and this is a little bit of a deeper one, when you've done a self-assessment, you've been thinking about yourself and realize you've been critical or too negative or irritable or unhelpful. Maybe you felt like you were a little bit lazy. Even if your partner hasn't complained to you about failing to do something or how you've been acting, it actually is really wise, and you kind of get extra credit if you own some behavior and apologize for it without your partner mentioning it at all. Okay. Just remember that. Notice yourself. Own what you're doing or not doing, and apologize if you think that's warranted. So I want to talk now about the elements of a good apology, because a lot of people aren't really sure how to apologize. So it starts with a statement about what you're apologizing for, with no but, by the way. I'm really sorry how I acted, but you were being really complaining. That kind of apology isn't an apology. It's a justification. No buts. Just say what you're apologizing for. Number 2, say, I was wrong. Now, I don't mean you're wrong about some discussion you were having, but I was wrong to do that. 3, what you'll do to make amends. And 4, what you'll do to prevent yourself from making this same mistake again. So that's what I'm apologizing for. I was wrong. What I'll do to make amends, and what I'll do to not do it again. So for example, on that last one, let's say you forgot, well, let's do the one I forgot to pick up our kid. Okay. In the one about how I'm going to prevent that, you might be saying, I'll put it in my calendar. From now on, I'm going to put it in my calendar on the days that it's my turn to pick her up. I will set an alarm on my phone for when I have to leave work or leave where I am to pick her up. And third, because what if I forget those? I'm going to put a sticky on my steering wheel that tells me, pick your daughter up on the way home. So, or it could be, if this was about spending too much money, I'll talk to you anytime I want to spend more than $300, so we can decide together whether this expense fits our situation at that time. So that would be another how to prevent this from happening again. Third, and this one might resonate with you, I'll not make any more plans with our friends or my parents, any more plans that include you, without first discussing it with you. So those are all things that I've heard over the years. I've heard couples talk about, or some of the top ones. Taking this action to tell how they're going to prevent, how they're going to prevent themselves from doing this again, says to your partner that you'll hold yourself accountable for what you do or don't do. And it really builds so much trust in your partner that they can really depend on you. Okay. I'm going to give you some actions that you could take if these have meaning to you. Okay. So choose one of the topics. And just to remind you, it's being trustworthy. It's listening for understanding, listening carefully to your partner. And number 3, apologizing. So pick one of those areas and focus on it for 2 weeks. Find situations where you can show them you're trustworthy, that you're listening, or that you're owning something, you're apologizing for something. Whatever one you pick, do it for 2 weeks. Then when you're sure that you have that one down, then pick the next one of the other 2, and work on that for another 2 weeks, and then add the other one, and so on. That's really the best way. Don't try to do all 3 of them, because that's too hard for us to change behavior in 3 different things. It's too much to take, too much strain on your brain. So do one, work it for 2 weeks, then add. The benefits will be noticeable. So thanks for listening. I hope these pointers have a big impact on your relationship happiness. So just as we finish, I want to remind you, you're invited to join my Facebook group. It's called Committed Couples Growing Together. And lastly, this is a preview of something coming up. I'm developing a workshop that I'm going to give before the end of the year on planning your love for 2023. With the new year coming up, or depending on when you're listening to this, maybe the new year has already come. It's really important. We plan lots of things, our vacations, our this, our that. Let's plan your love, what you're going to do for love, for showing your love in 2023. Okay, it's coming soon. Take care. Bye now.